Hello everyone, my name is Athar Amirul Shafi. This year's UPSC CSC 2015 AIR 2, and last year I had got 560 rank. I've done my BTech in electrical engineering from IIT Mandi, Himachal Pradesh. So this is the first video about my preparation strategy. First of all, before moving forward, there are some of the things that I want to point out. First thing is that studying books is not enough. Okay, it's not enough to just read the books. You also have to go through newspapers. Reading newspapers is one of the most important parts of our preparation. I think if a person is not reading newspapers, he should consider that he is probably not preparing for the examination itself. And number one, it's also important that you behave as a good observer. Whatever you observe from things around you in your society, so keep your eyes and your ears open. So many times what happens is in the examination, what you end up writing is what your own observation has been. Now this is this is a book list which shows some of the books which I have read. History and geography, I would like that NCRT, these are the basic books, you should follow them. You should read NCRTs first, then you can move on to some other books. For example, in history you can read Bipin Chandra. For modern history there's Spectrum is fairly a good book, especially for preliminary examination. For world history there's this book by Norman Love. It's a very wonderful book. It covers the portion from World War I onwards. And you can also read B.V. Rao, which for the portion which Normal Love does not cover. Ancient history, you can read NCRT or Tamil Nadu, textbook, Tamil Nadu board textbook, which is there. It's also a good book for ancient history. For medieval, again NCRT you can read. Art and culture, Nitin Singhania's book on art and culture is fairly good. You can also read GK Today. They have a module on art and culture. And also there's a small book by Spectrum. So for art and culture, what I particularly like is, you make your own notes. You try to have a one, consolidated notes for your art and culture, so that you can revise them regularly. Then for polity, Lakshmikant, almost everyone reads. We can also read D.D. Basu for selected topics. Besides, I think reading P.M. Bakshi, which has bare articles in it, that also helps. Here, I would also like to point one more thing. For example, in Lakshmikant, also at the end of the chapter, there are some end notes. Many a times good information, some reference to some of the cases, as well as some of the constitutional debates is given there. So do keep also the track of those end notes. Then current affairs is the heart and soul of UPSC examination as of now, and the best source for current affairs is of course the newspapers. So I used to read the Hindu, Indian Express. Besides, the weekly journal, Economic and Political Weekly is also very very useful. So your focus, a lot of energy should go on current affairs as well. For economy, basic, yes, if you are not very comfortable with economics as a subject, you should start from basics, and the best source to improve and to develop your concepts is NCRT. You can start with the basic micro and macroeconomics, and thereafter you can move on to the higher concepts in economics. So you can also read Mishra Puri for selected chapters, selected topics, and Ramesh Singh is not a very big book, so you can read this book from cover to cover. I would suggest reading it. Now, besides these standard books which everybody reads, I also suggest some other good reads. For example, from the authors like Raghuram Rajan, Nandan Nilekani, Bimal Jalan, Amartya Sen, Jawaharlal Nehru, and many others. So these books also help you, improve your understanding of things, and also provide better arguments in the examination. For science, 11th and 12th NCRTs are pretty okay. You can read them. You can also, for science and technology, you should also you take help of current affairs. So whatever is happening in the field of science and technology, you should be aware of it. So online resources can be consulted as well. Then for geography, you can read NCRTs first. I had read Manoj Sir's notes. I found them fairly good. Now Majid Hussain and Khullar, the books written by these two gentlemen, they're also very good. You can read selected topics from both Khullar as well as Majid Hussain. Now world geography, Shankar IAS has a small module on world geography. I found it also very useful. And environment ecology, again, a very very important area as far as UPSC examination is concerned. So you should also prepare it well. For this Shankar IAS module on environment ecology, which is easily available every year, at every place, you can read that. Similarly, GK Today has a module on environment and ecology. I found that also very useful. Besides, if so many of you might have read this book called Silent Spring by Rachel Carson. This is one of the landmark books which actually started the environment, related movement in the world. So this book is also helpful in understanding some of the concepts related to environment and environmental degradation. Besides, you can also read some of the reports, for example, that those of BNHS, IUCN, etc. Similarly, some websites are also very useful, be that of Earth-Hour, UN, IUCN, UNDP, etc. Now, when we come to the CSAT portion, for CSAT, now as you know, it's only a qualifying nature. You should not be very much worried about it. But those people who have problems, who think that they may not be able to do well in this paper, they should start solving previous year's papers. Solve as many questions as you can. You will do good in CSAT paper 2. Now, paper 2 is that. Now, besides, as I also earlier referred, that some of the books, like those written by Nandan Nilekani, Raghuram Rajan, etc., have been very useful. Here, I would like to refer to some of the books by Amartya Sen, which I found really, really useful. One is Argumentative Indian, a very wonderful book. Then you should read it. Idea of Justice is one more book. The Country of First Boys, it's a recent release. It's not a book per se, but a compendium of articles by Amartya Sen. It's edited by two ladies probably, and now it was released last year, so you can read this book as well. Now, how will it help? For example, if you look at this book called The Country of First Boys, there's a chapter in the end on Nalanda University, and you might have seen that in 2014 question paper 1, where you also had a good question on Nalanda University. Similarly, okay. For example, there's this book by Jawaharlal Nehru, The Discovery of India. This year in paper 1, we have the question on civilizational continuity when it comes to Indian civilization as compared to Mesopotamian and other civilizations. So that has also been in breadth discussed by Jawaharlal Nehru in The Discovery of India. So then there's a book called for IR International Relations. You can start with say basic. There's a simple book by VP Dutt. You can read some of the basic concepts from that. You can also read Rajiv Sikri. After that, the books like Pax Indica by Shashi Tharoor. It's also a very good read. And then there's this book by David Malone. Does the Elephant Dance? It's a wonderful book on Indian foreign policy. You can also read this. And recently there was one book by C. Raja Mohan, Modi's World. So it gives an extensive coverage of the present government's foreign policy. So you may read that as well. Now, what I'm trying to say is that by giving reference to these books, it's possible that these books may not directly help you, but indirectly they'll all help you develop better perspectives, better understanding of things, and also help you argue better in the examination. Now, there are some things which I think are very important as far as this examination is concerned. You should keep these in mind. First thing is, answer writing is very, very important. When it comes to main examination, examiner is not concerned what you know. What he's concerned with is what you write there in the examination, in the answer paper, in the answer sheet. Okay, so answer writing is very important. It helps improve your writing skills. Skill develops with time and practice, so be patient and keep practicing. Be a part of an online or an offline test series. You can join some test series. It helps. Test series is a way of evaluating your preparation. So when you appear in tests regularly, it helps you evaluate the areas where you lack, and what are the areas in which you need to focus more. For main examination, current affairs is extremely crucial. In fact, for a preliminary examination as well, current affairs is very, very useful, very, very critical. And so you should read newspapers properly, Hindu, Indian Express, and by reading newspapers properly, I also mean you should make proper notes of the things that you read from these newspapers. So those notes will help you revise periodically after some point of time. Now, read Economic and Political Weekly. Okay, for paper 2, paper 3, it will help. And then Yojana, as I also referred to this earlier. Now, and make notes of the important news. Yes, as I said it, newspaper reading newspapers is very very important. But the fact is, we forget things very soon. So, in order to prevent this thing from happening, it's important that we have some notes so that we can revise the things at regular intervals of time. For social issues, you can refer to this book by Ram Ahuja. It's called Social Problems in India. It's a very very